Hi guys, welcome to this video. I am sitting at my kitchen table because, I don't know, the lighting right here is just too great to pass up, even though I kind of look like I'm doing homework or something. So this video is about how I keep my hair as red as possible for as long as possible without having to dye it like every 3 weeks. So to start off, this is my disclaimer. I am not a professional. I have not gone for school for this. I am speaking on my experience and what works for me. You are allowed to take with you what you will, but take it with a grain of salt because I am not a professional. I cannot tell you what to do with your hair. These are suggestions based on what works for me after 2 years of dyeing my hair red. Okay? There we go. So now we can get started. I've been dyeing my hair red for almost 2 years now, and so these are just some tips and tricks that have kind of come along during my process. So I dye my hair every month and a half. Usually by the end it gets a little pinky. It's closer to like a pink, orangey pink, which actually isn't that bad. I dye my hair once every month and a half, but I bleach my roots every 3 months. So that's just a little background. Tip number 1 is I have my hair bleached before I dye it. I bleach my roots every 3 months, and that's how the color turns out vibrant and not muted by the color of my hair. If you have blonde hair or really, really light brown hair, you'll be fine. But I have a dark brown color naturally, so yeah. Step 1 and 2 are already done. Step 1 is to bleach whatever dark hair you have to the point where it's pretty light. Before you dye your hair, you're going to want to wash it. Now, when you wash it, only use shampoo. Step 2 is before you dye your hair, you're going to want to wash it with shampoo only and then let it dry. I like to air dry it as much as possible and then just give it a quick blow dry for the rest, just to avoid extra heat damage or whatever. The next part of how I keep my hair this red is how I dye it. So I will leave clips that I took yesterday while I was dyeing my hair so that you can kind of see my process and how I get this color. Okay, so for my dye to get a purplish red, a maroon, I don't know, I mix red dye and purple dye. And this is a different red than I usually use. I usually go for vampire red because it's one of the darkest ones out of the series. This one kind of looks close to it. Yeah, you can't really see that well, but this one is infrared. And the purple I'm going to be mixing with it is called Purple Haze. So I usually do kind of half of each, but I start with the red and kind of mix in the purple so I can make sure that it stays looking more red than it does purple. And yeah. I don't know if you can really see, but that's pretty dark. And here we go. All of the dye is in my hair. I had to make some more about halfway through. That's pretty usual for me though. Yeah, there's a little bit of mess on my face, but I can usually get most of it out, so I'm not too worried. You can leave the dye that I use, which is Manic, in your hair for as long as you want, basically, and it's fine. It only dyes your hair for the first 30 to 40 minutes, and then after that your hair is dyed. So if you don't want to leave it in past that, you don't have to. I like to leave it in because Manic has conditioning values, so my hair always ends up feeling really soft when I leave my dye in overnight. So that's what I usually do. I did not do that yesterday because I wanted to dye my hair during the day. So I left it in for about an hour and a half. I rinsed my hair with cold water because when you use hot water, it opens up like the pores or whatever in your hair and it lets the dye leave. So on that note, I try to wash my hair as little as possible. And when I do, I use cold water and I try and use as little shampoo as possible. If you have to, use it only on your roots, a little tiny bit, and make sure it's a color safe shampoo. Otherwise, you will find a lot of red streaming down your shower. You're going to anyways, but you'd see a lot more if you use regular shampoo. Another tip is I mix some dye into my conditioner so that, I don't know, it kind of replenishes. This is just like a trick I've seen on the internet. Not sure how much it actually works, but I mean, you're just putting a little bit of your dye into your conditioner bottle, it's fine. Another thing that I do is when I want to replenish the color, I mix some dye into conditioner and leave it in my hair for a couple hours / to overnight, and that usually helps refresh the color. Just a little tip, if you haven't dyed your hair before, you probably won't know, but your hair will stain everything. When you're using a semi-permanent dye, it stains everything. So, careful with your bed sheets, careful with your fingers. If you don't want red fingertips, don't do it. Because you'll get red fingertips for like the first week of you dyeing your hair. You might not want to do this like 2 days before your job interview, just saying. Another tip is just to save your life if you're still living at your parents' house or if you have a landlord or something, you can use toilet bowl cleaner to wash hair dye off of like most ceramic and like, I don't know, like countertops and stuff. It does not work on wood or paint, but it does work on countertops, which is what I get most on. Also, it should work on your bathtub. You just like pour it on there and leave it for a long time and it should come off really quick. So that's just a tip for all you who dye your hair often like me. So this is the end of the video. I hope you got something out of it. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments. So I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Take on me, take me